So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our episode of Planets Through Nakshatra. And this week we're going to be covering Rahu and Jyeshta nakshatra. And what happens when Rahu is in the nakshatra of Jyeshta in your horoscope. And as always, if you do not know what nakshatra your planet is placed in or Rahu is placed in, all your planetary details for that, check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Rahu in Jyeshta nakshatra. Jyeshta nakshatra, as you know, occurs at around, I believe, 1640 of Scorpio to 30 degrees of Scorpio zodiac sign. So, what's a nakshatra is the constellation working behind the scenes of a zodiac sign. Like, if, zodiac sign is this watch, okay? So, this is a Scorpio watch. But the mechanism inside the Scorpio, this watch. So you see the pretty sign, the blue and the handle and there's gold, metal up here. But inside the working, what is making this watch tick is what the nakshatra is what really gives the zodiac sign the power. And especially, usually we see moon in this nakshatra, but I've already covered that. So I'm doing the north node of the moon, Rahu, in this nakshatra. And Rahu, as you know, is the asura, the demon who wants to kind of take over you and your soul, your body, to achieve goals in the material plane. For him, he's the god of the material plane. For him, he's all about wanting to receive the fame, wanting to receive the gratitude, the material life. Everything that makes us feel good about us through the five senses is Rahu. See, all the five senses, which in a way controlled by Mercury as well, but it is Rahu that makes us want to eat that cake. See, Mercury is the senses, the nervous system, gives us the senses of seeing, hearing, tasting, feeling. But Rahu is this energy, this mathematical point in our chart or everybody's chart that says, yes, I want that piece of cake with that cherry on top because it looks so good. And oh my God, I'm going to take, that makes me hungry for an Oreo cake right now. As soon as I'm done with this video, I am going to go get an Oreo cake. Believe me on that. We got a bakery right around the corner. You guys just made me hungry. I made myself hungry. God damn it. Rahu's taking over me. Ah! So yes, that's what Rahu is. Rahu makes you use your senses. It wants to hear that nice, classical music or hip hop music that when you're walking down towards your car in the garage. And Rahu is that pleasure of opening the door to your brand new, Maybach, Mercedes, and getting in there and feeling the sense of being a king. And in reality, the devas, the true energy, the true consciousness, the higher consciousness of the pineal gland is literally just laughing at you like, wow, it's so amazing to control these puppets that even an asura can come and just do its job. That's what Rahu is. Now, Jyeshta nakshatra comes into play. This is the nakshatra known as the elder sister to, I forgot the name of the female goddess. I don't know if it was some sort of a Mata, like Sheravali Mata, or it was Lakshmi. But it is the elder sister of this great goddess that we worship. And the symbolism of this nakshatra is the lightning. The lightning strike and you're holding the umbrella. Meaning, this nakshatra feels like it needs to protect something. It needs to protect the kingdom. It needs to protect the people of the household. It needs to save someone and protect someone. And this is why this nakshatra is usually related to like police officers, detectives, and soldiers and marines. And people who just go out there to protect by putting their life on line. Because remember, this nakshatra is occurring in the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is what? The original 8th house. the original 8th house of the zodiac, which has to deal with life, death, our psychological matters, our psychological fears, our shortcomings. It's about the supernatural, natural. It's about the paranormal. Anything that is buried underground that you cannot see, it's in the most darkest of places, is where this nakshatra takes you. Because it says that this person, you, will be forced to protect things in the darkest of hours. But here's the problem. Certain planets in this nakshatra can really lose themselves. They can become, cross-wired. And usually, if you notice, moon, whenever it's in the sign of Scorpio, is debilitated. But especially in Jyeshta nakshatra, moon becomes, very intense and cunning. Moon is like, okay, I need to know about everything and everybody here. What is your deepest, darkest secret? I need to know. Because I am going to be using that at one point to my advantage. So I need to know that. And they are always aware. The awareness is very, very strong. Like nobody can just talk stuff behind their back. They will somehow find out one way or the other. So now what's happening is you're bringing Rahu into this nakshatra and into the zodiac sign of Scorpio. First of all, one of the most basic thing you got to understand is that Rahu is known as somewhat debilitated in Scorpio. Like Rahu is not at its highest self because Rahu came to this plane to be immortalized so it can enjoy the material life. Okay? And Rahu now has to deal, one of the things of being on this plane is that its own psychological darkest fears. And Rahu has to deal with the fact that it needs to now protect something, whether itself or whether somebody else. And Rahu feels like, I don't want to be in this chaotic situation. Because remember, Scorpio is a very chaotic sign. It is sudden ups, sudden downs, meaning like we don't even know what's going to happen with Scorpio. Because it's the 8th house. It's the house that is very unpredictable. It is the black hole of literally of the zodiac, where you need to have very, very good telescope or binoculars to really see what is happening in that darkest place. You got to have like infrared cameras and all the photon torpedoes showing you what is going on there. So Rahu feels like, it's lost, it's irritated, it's angry. And Rahu, knowing that it's malefic nature, natural malefic nature, to indulge a person into wanting to know the senses. So what happens is when Rahu is in this sign, a person has a natural fear of most of the things. Like especially in the dark, they will have great fear. Because what happens with Rahu represents things that are here, but then they are not here. Okay? And I won't discuss the houses, but here's the thing with Rahu. Rahu in sign of Scorpio, and especially in the nakshatra of Jyeshta, can make a person experience things like apparitions. Make a person see ghosts. Make a person see things that can drive their illusionary mind a little bit haywire. And then these people become very protective. That, is this person real? Is this not? Are you trying to come after me? Are you not? And then Rahu feels like it's in this trap now. It's in this dark place. So imagine if somebody was to put you in a complete dark place, in a very old house which was 400 years old, nobody's lived there. You're going to start thinking things like, there's got to be some ghostly energy or demonic energy here. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So then what happens is, you see a bottle of scotch on the side. You're like, you know what? If I got to spend the night here, I'm just going to get hammered. So what they do, they look for that escape. And Rahu is very, very good in finding some sort of an escape to not deal with the situation that it's in or the situation that it doesn't like. So with Jyeshta, you may see somebody who may indulge in excessive drinking, somebody who may, become a drug addict because of the fact they cannot deal with the horror, the chaos, the fear that they see in front of them that no one else can understand. See, here's the thing with Rahu. Many people will be like, oh my God, yes, I have a cousin who's a drug addict and this guy just like completely goes off at the end and this happens, that happens. No, there's always a reason. Because Jyeshta is a nakshatra of protection. A person with Rahu has a fear of something, whether it's real or not. It's this overblown fear. So what happens is they have to protect themselves. And how do you protect yourself when you're in a certain situation where you do not know what is just, 2 feet away from you because it's so dark? And if you have this bottle that can take you away, this bottle of scotch, you'll drink it all the way out and just be passed out and don't care if somebody comes and possesses you or somebody comes and hits you. You'll just be knocked down. And when you wake up in the morning, you can finally rest and just get out. And also what happens with Rahu is Rahu feels like it needs to conquer the other person's secret senses, what other person knows that they do not know. And this nature of Rahu, because remember, at the end, Rahu is the Asura. Rahu is this demonic natured entity that makes you just feel indulged into things. So what happens is it becomes a bully. In Jyeshta nakshatra, a person, let's say if you have Rahu in the ascendant in Scorpio, in Jyeshta nakshatra, you'll be a natural bully. You'll be like wanting to just take control of anybody and everybody who even looked at you the wrong way. Because you feel like if they looked at you the wrong way, they have some agenda against you. And this is why the debilitatedness of Rahu comes into play. So Rahu, especially in the nakshatra of Jyeshta, feels like it needs to protect itself. And in doing so, it also hurts others. But what happens with this is, if Rahu, let's say, is in a good house, if Rahu receives the aspect of good planets, or even especially like the aspect of Mars is upon Rahu, who controls the sign of Scorpio, then this person can become a great detective. This person can become a great spy, a great hacker. Somebody who can find the secrets out through the most, invisible source of way, which is what? Internet, Wi-Fi, getting into people's lives and accounts. And this nakshatra is controlled by Mercury, the god of information, the god of curiosity, the planet of curiosity, the planet that is all about, knowing everything. This is why Jyeshta and Scorpio is about, I need to know what is here. That's it. You better tell me now or I'm just going to go crazy and I'm just going to go berserk. Because Rahu is fear. This is why Rahu is related to Saturn. Saturn is what? Saturn is fear and anxiety. And because Rahu is a reflection of Saturn, Rahu pretty much takes that and blows it over. If let's say you came and watched, if you were going to go watch, let's say, just a suspense movie, your friend with Rahu and Jyeshta nakshatra will say, man, this is the most scariest movie you'll ever see. You'll have nightmares and this and that. But it was really just a simple suspense movie. So that's what Rahu does then in Scorpio. It takes that Mercurian energy and overblows it, and it just feels chaotic. It just, it's hard to, like Rahu cannot control its energy. And what happens is Rahu is a planet without their body. So whatever it eats, it's just dropping down. And it'll never be satisfied for eons, because the universe is so big that it can fill up this earth with food, then fill up this entire solar system with food that it's eating, and still won't be enough for it. It can fill up this entire galaxy. It can fill up the next trillion galaxies, it won't be close enough. And this is why this Rahu energy feels very chaotic about wanting to just protect itself and know things. So if you really look at, see, we think the image of a bully is somebody who just wants to pick on us and just wants to fight us and wants our money. But the thing is, there's a reason behind bully wanting to come after you. There's some psychological reason, some fear that they have within them for them to come after you, to bully you. So it's not because of just out of the spur, you're a weaker person than them and they want to pick on you. No, it is because they are so paranoid and fearful that they have to pick on you. Now, I'm pretty sure most people will say, oh, well, I'm not a bully and I'm not this and I'm not that. First of all, we don't know that. We do not know that. You can say it all day. I'm not, intense or fearful or wanting to just, go behind the scenes and do things. But we just don't know people's real nature. So those comments really doesn't matter because everybody has shortcomings. There are people who commit biggest crimes. What do you think that they have some completely different nakshatra and zodiac signs that don't exist into the normal civilized society? No. Just the guy who killed or did the mass shooting in Florida, he must have some planet and some sign, some nakshatra, some pada doing something. But you got to understand, it takes other malefic influences on a single planet, single nakshatra, single house for inaction to take place. So because your Rahu is in Jyeshta nakshatra, doesn't mean that you are this bad person. The foundation will be the same, but you might do the good deed. You might actually go towards protecting people, becoming a police officer. You want to dive deep into the darkness and help someone because you know the fear of being alone, being trapped by an enemy. And this all comes down to the padha. This all comes down to the house placement. This all comes down to something known as Varga Vimshopak in Vedic astrology, the divisional strength of the planet. And the nature of this nakshatra is pretty much tamas sattva sattva, meaning that they, through their shortcomings, through learning through ignorance, by being ignorant, they finally realize the truth that is out there. And especially Rahu, these people are greatly interested in like tantra, black magic, greatly interested in just knowing the secrets that nobody else may know. Because Rahu's curious. It's becoming Mercury. It's becoming the zodiac sign of Scorpio. Okay. So guys, this was my analysis of Rahu and Jyeshta nakshatra. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know where your Rahu is placed, all your planetary placements, my books, reports, consultation, for that check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.